Hey guys, how's it going? Kripparrian here, bringing you guys a brand new format where we learn about the details of cards through a very interesting myth-busting sequence that I have for you guys. So there's a lot of crazy cool mechanics introduced through the new cards in Rastakhan's Rumble, and this is probably the funnest way to learn about some of them. So the first card I want to tackle comes from a Reddit post that I saw of Desperate Stand working with Immortal Prelate. And Immortal Prelate is a source of a lot of controversy, so there's a lot of crazy stuff that can happen around this card. So basically the Reddit post claimed that if you have Desperate Stand on Immortal Prelate, he comes back immediately when he dies, and he also keeps the enchantments. I mean, that would seem crazy, right? That's a 2-card 4-mana combo of a completely invincible minion. That seems too good to be true, right? So we put it to the test. Let's see what happens here.
Hear my call. Shields up. One shot, one kill.
Well, yeah, you can kind of see the minion comes back, but it comes back as a brand new one that you then have to stack up again. So this myth is busted. Busted, boys. But there's a lot of other crazy stuff that happens with Immortal Prelate. I've seen many people talk about it. I have even talked about it on stream several times about the different interactions with Immortal Prelate and the Undertaker. So the Undertaker, he can take on the death rattle of shuffle this into your deck. It keeps any enchantments. And there was some mentions, I've even thought of this, of using Silver Vanguard to basically create a minion on the board that can just stay there, and when it dies, it just comes back on its own. It comes back on its own. But does this work?
I don't make mistakes, I bury them! I don't make mistakes, I bury them! I don't make mistakes, I bury them! I don't make mistakes,
I bury them. I don't make mistakes. I bury them.
Well, fortunately, Kinky Gaming from YouTube managed to pull off an infinite loop combo using exactly this card, so it is in fact working. It is in fact confirmed that this works. There is an infinite minion on the board plus whatever third death rattle effect you want to trigger, and in his case he chose to do an infinite damage loop by using a damage your opponent on death effect through a bomb. So pretty crazy stuff, and I'm sure we'll see much more of this card in crazy interactions to come. There's also a lot of talk about Grah the Shark. Grah the Shark has a mechanic that seems to be new. It doesn't say, like, you know, find a minion in your deck, destroy it, and add it to your stats, and then you resummon on death rattle. Right? It uses different words. It says, eat a minion. What is this eat a minion? Does this behave differently than it should? And I found a post on Reddit that suggests that it is in fact a different mechanic, and this user says that it actually kept its death rattle after vanish. So it kept the stats, and it just kept it. So we put it to the test. What happens if you bounce Grah? well, with the Panda, nothing happens. So that seems to be pretty busted. But maybe pandas work differently than like sap effects. So let's just maybe try a sap effect. That could be very different, right? So we tried a sap effect. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing, isn't it? Well, I guess the post specifies vanish. So maybe vanish is like actually totally different, right? It could be different. It's possible. It's possible, right?
My hand is too full.
Well, also, kind of on a side confirm, while we were testing, Grah confirmed does work with the darkness, boys. But, well, when it comes to vanish, still nothing. Nope. This myth is busted. Grah, even though has an eat effect, it perhaps suggests that it works differently than any other kind of mechanic before it. Well, turns out not to be the case. Next up on the list is Janai. Janai is the new Loa for Mage, a very interesting card. And if you were, reading Reddit, there was like tons of talk about the card not working properly with the double battle cry effect. So there are a few double battle cry effects, but one that people, thought of actually making in a consistent deck was Bran Bronzebeard. So, if you play Bran and you play Janai, shouldn't you get 2 Ragnaros? Well, most people were saying that, it doesn't actually get 2 Ragnaros. And for the purpose of this video, I thought I'd just, go ahead and just quickly confirm this for you guys. Just kind of, it's like, oh, hey, look, this doesn't work. Maybe you guys should know about it before you invest in that deck. So I tested it.
Who knows what secrets will uncover?
Spirit of the flame, turn them to ash!
And it turns out that it does actually work. The notion that Bran and Janai crashes the game is busted. It seems like Bran Janai has been fixed. Probably. I say probably because there were so many complaints on this issue that I find it hard to believe that it always was working and, it just, people just kind of fabricated this stuff on Reddit. So let's call this one for now fixed. But there was other talks of Janai working with other hero powers, and there's been some pretty interesting ones. I, in fact, encountered Janai off of Hunter. So does Janai work with the Hunter hero power?
Spirit of the flame,
What?
turn them to ash!
Already? This shit was not supposed to happen yet. This is too early.
Yes, it does. Unfortunately for me, in a game earlier this week. It does in fact work with the Hunter hero power. It is confirmed to work with the Hunter hero power. But people actually went a little bit further than that. I managed to dig up a post on Reddit where it's also confirmed to work with the Warlock hero power. Now, don't ask how you can consistently get Janai as a Warlock, but seemingly, if you do, and you tap enough times to hit yourself for 8 damage, well, that 8 damage counts for Janai. Janai does not discriminate when it comes to hero power damage usage. Next up on the list is Hakkar. So earlier in the week, we produced a video for you guys, 1,000 plus damage with Hakkar. And our intention was, not really to clickbait or anything like that, because, we just try to have nice titles that actually represent the video content that you see. But some people, very few, nice job, by the way, you caught it, mentioned that you can't actually have a deck with more than 60 cards in Hearthstone. And that is actually true. And because each corrupted blood produced by Hakkar can only do 3 damage, and you can only cycle through your deck once in each Hakkar cycle, that makes each forced draw a maximum of 60 times 3 damage. So it's 180 damage. And because with double naturalize and the 1-turn draw, that's 5 draws maximum for a druid combo, you can't actually get 1,000 damage. Krip, you're clickbaiting us. Well, even though that wasn't the intention, there is another aspect to the Hakkar blood that will myth bust your claims of us clickbaiting you guys with 1,000 plus damage Hakkar. You in fact can do 1,000 plus damage with Hakkar through other ways of drawing cards your opponent forcefully, but a more convenient way that we actually discovered by accident is with spell damage.
Oh, he just dies to that.
I'm almost out of cards.
I think this is a decent deck. I don't know. It's a little weird.
Almost out of cards. I'm out of cards.
Spell damage synergy.
Spell damage is in fact working with the blood. So if your opponent ever has a spell damage minion, you can save your combo until he plays one. With Thalnos, with Cats, it's not that unlikely, and you too can myth bust this combo of not being able to do 1,000 damage by actually doing 1,000 damage. It's certainly possible. Next up on the list is Saronite Taskmaster. This is a pretty interesting card, and some people have chosen not to use this card because they believe that the death rattle is a pretty considerable downsize. And while that is, to debate against debate, all that, one thing that needs to be mentioned is that Saronite Taskmaster is not necessarily a downside. We learned through a post on Reddit that Saronite Taskmaster's death rattle being a downside is myth busted when it comes to playing against Cthulhu Warlock. As Mecha'thun, when in combination with Cataclysm, if there is a Saronite Taskmaster on the board, because the Saronite Taskmaster is played before the Mecha'thun, its death rattle will trigger before Mecha'thun gets a chance to, and when the Mecha'thun death rattle triggers, there will actually not be an empty battlefield for it to satisfy the condition to win the game. Saronite Taskmaster, boys. Nice stuff. And lastly on our list, I wanted to give special mention to Bloodclaw. Bloodclaw has been a card rated 5 stars by not just one YouTuber, many YouTubers, many streamers consider this card very, very good. And today, I want to give you guys a very important message that when you have a really good deck and you put a card in it that makes it worse, it doesn't make the card good. Is Bloodclaw good? Is Bloodclaw 5 stars? Myth busted, boys. It is not. This card sucks. Basically, every single Odd Paladin that includes it has a much lower win rate than every Odd Paladin that doesn't include it. Whenever you play this card, your win rate is below 50%. And it's not just below 50%. The normal Odd Paladin that doesn't use Bloodclaw is the single best deck in the entire game. It's not like that deck has a 50% win rate. That deck, in fact, has an above 60% win rate. So Bloodclaw, 5 stars, busted. Let us know if you enjoyed the format. Make sure to check out our other videos, and we'll see you guys in the next one.